Alright guys, check it out! It's Sigma! New hero! I'm super excited! He's a tank! Uses gravity! And if you listen, you can hear piano music playing when you select him even. Listen. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's creepy. Anyway, let's get in the game.
There is no obligation for the universe to make sense to you.
There you go. Well, it seldom does. But here, welcome to Hero 31. This is Sigma. He is the newest tank to join Overwatch. He's got a lot of cool abilities. So, I think what I'll do first is I'll go over his basic abilities, just kind of what they do on a basic level. And then we're going to examine some subtleties, which is very neat, because he's got a lot of subtleties to his kit that's going to make him a very challenging character to play at the absolute top level. So I'm really, really excited to see pros get hold of this guy. I'm excited to play him myself. Like, you know, I'm a support main, but man, I tested this guy last week at Blizzard HQ, and it was so much fun, and he's so hard, so I think I'm going to have a lot of fun just as a player with him as well. So let's check it out. So first ability, he's got these two orbs. One click will send both orbs at your opponent, like that. They do bounce. Essentially they go a certain distance, and they'll bounce an infinite number of times before they reach that distance. So if you look, we go to about, I think it was about between, well, 30 meters. If we're 30 meters out, it won't reach the target. So that's what I mean when I say that it goes a certain distance before it explodes. And that distance includes bounces. So if we do this, you can do that. You can bounce it off of multiple walls. Basically, it will always travel the same distance before detonating, and it does do a little bit of AoE damage as well. So that's something to keep in mind. His shift ability is an ability that absorbs incoming damage. You can just use that here. Wait for it. And after he finishes it, he gets some extra shields. So I only got 22 extra shields. He's base 300 health, 100 shields, but you can go up to 400 additional personal shields from that ability, I've been told. So it can be a substantial amount of temporary health gain for him. Something to kind of keep in mind, which is cool. His E is awesome. His E summons a huge rock out of the ground and throws it at your opponent. And as you can see, you can knock people off edges with it, which is another great benefit. But if you don't, and I'm going to do this after the cooldown comes back, if you don't knock somebody off the edge, if you don't hit anybody with it, like me when I play. I'm not a pro player, by the way, guys. He made an unexpected juke, alright? He zigged when he should have zagged. Alright. So you can kind of knock them back a little bit here too. So it can be a nice little displacement ability. I believe it even knocks people down. In the actual game itself, I was knocking down people with it earlier. So it's kind of like a little mini one-person Earth Shatter thing if you can aim it properly. It does have a bit of an arc, and I believe it does go forever. Yeah, it just kind of goes. So that's a fun thing. You can kind of launch across the map and maybe catch somebody off guard. I think we're going to see a lot of cool, like, clutch moments with that move. Now, the thing that makes him more tanky is he has a shield. So his shield is your right click, and the longer you hold it down, the more he projects the barrier. And if you keep holding the right click down, it just kind of goes out there from the initial angle you sent it, right? So you can barely see my shield is still way out there. I press right click, it comes back to me again. Now, of course, this makes it really versatile. You can choose exactly how far you send it out. You can put it exactly where you want to put it. It doesn't regen health until you bring it back, so I'll do that. You can see down at the bottom of the screen, it'll start to regen health. But it's so cool, because say there's a fire above you trying to barrage or something. Boom, shield right in her face, and she's going to blow herself up, right? It's got 1500 health, pretty decent shield, but just the ability to send it out exactly where you need it at any given time, at any range. It's a difficult ability to use properly, but once you do, I think it's going to be extremely nice. Extremely useful. So I think it's just a really cool ability. And if you just tap right click, he doesn't send it out at all. You have to hold down right click to do it. But this does make Sigma officially the first character in the game to have multiple wave animations. See? Hello? And right click tap. There you go. Multiple wave animations. How OP is this guy? There you go. But anyway, let's get his ult up here. Look at that. And then we'll go into some of the subtleties with the abilities. So, got the ult. Now his ultimate is a huge AoE gravity ability. It pulls guys up into the air. He flies into the air as you aim it. You're gonna use it. Pulls guys up in the air, and then slams them down. Now, this did, on the build that I tested anyway, they said it did 50% of maximum health damage, which is an enormous amount of damage, and I believe this is the first ability in the game to do percent health damage. And that opens up a whole new development can of worms when you start adding characters with percent health damage, because suddenly you can add DPS heroes that are really good at, you know, cutting down tanks really quickly. You can handle things like bunkers, and that's pretty much what this ability is going to be able to do. It pops people out from behind the Orisa shield. It's just really strong, and 50% max health is an insane amount of damage. So that's going to be a really interesting one to see used. That's the only one where I'm like, that's a lot of damage. I'm a little bit concerned by that, but again, we'll see what happens here as pros kind of figure out the game and stuff. Now, he is a little bit vulnerable when he does that ability, and when I say a little bit vulnerable, I mean he's a lot vulnerable when he does that ability, because he's just kind of floating in the air with no shoes. As you can see, no shoes, but who needs them when you're floating, I guess, I suppose. I'm going to get the ult again to show it to you quickly. There we go. Just going to go ahead and use it. You can fly around during it as well, so it does a lot of damage. As you can see, that's a little bit more than 50% right there, because it does initial damage, and then the slam, I believe, is what does 50% health damage. Don't quote me on that. I might be a little bit off on those numbers, because he's brand new. Either way, does a ton of damage. But as you can see, also he can float around during it, and that can help you kind of escape, get to higher places, and you can keep moving while you're casting the ultimate. You're not frozen in place, but you are a little bit exposed higher up in the air like that. So something to kind of keep in mind. Let's listen to his fall death animation. Alright, that's good. You guys got to critique the falling death soundbite. I'm satisfied with that. It's entertaining. So now let's get into some of the subtleties with this guy. One of the ones that I immediately noticed that his left click has a curve to it. It kind of has a downward trajectory, as you can see. So you do kind of have to aim it up a little bit if you want to hit people at range. And also keep in mind his maximum range to do damage with the AoE. Remember, 30 meters, not going to hit a guy. You go up to about 25 meters, you're going to hit them with the AoE, I believe. You go farther than that, you can hit them with the actual projectile, which does more damage. Remember, it does bounce, of course, and it does do AoE damage, so you can kind of like send it around corners and do people damage with the bounce as well. So if somebody's barely escaped around a corner, you can finish them off that way. If you're not terrible like me, there you go. Another neat thing that his left click does that I notice is that it actually works like a little gravity field, so it pulls guys towards it. So if we shoot between these guys, look at that. It actually pulls them towards where the projectile was. So this is big if you want to mess up like a hit scan character like a McCree, or really anyone that really needs to aim, like a Widowmaker if you can get close enough to her anyway, is that your left click actually moves them slightly. And that can be a little tool to use too, to just throw off their aim and make it harder for them to hit you back. So I think that's one of his abilities that actually makes him a little bit tankier, interestingly enough, is that little repositioning can kind of screw people up a little bit. I love this ult. It's so cool. Yeah, initial damage, and then a lot of damage when they land. More things to keep in mind, his boulder toss does arc as well. So you can't just aim it straight, otherwise it's going to hit the ground in front of your opponent and you're going to feel kind of embarrassed. Let me see if there's anything else I'm missing. I think that's about it. His shield, again, is going to take a lot of skill to use well. But overall, just a really cool hero. I think his lore is really cool. I think he looks really cool. His backstory is neat, that he's kind of unwittingly a Talon member. Which they seem to like to do that to people, you know? They seem to like to take people and corrupt them to their evil ends. Look at poor Batiste, just trying to make some friends, and he ended up working for Talon for a while. Sigma, though, he's got some mental instabilities, shall we say, and he's not quite so fortunate to be able to realize what's going on and get out. But very, very cool hero. Hope you enjoyed the guide. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. He's on the PTR right now, and enjoy it. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking and upload this thing. Alright, see you guys on the Overwatch League. Bye.